I call the member for Dawson.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. And back in July this year, the Shadow Minister for Infrastructure and Transport and Leader of the Nationals, the Shadow Parliamentary Secretary for Roads and Member for Gippsland, and myself, along with a host of state and federal Liberal National Party members of Parliament, conducted an inspection of the entire Bruce Highway. And from the outskirts of Brisbane to Cairns, we drove all 1,652 kilometres of the Bruce Highway, meeting local mayors and councils along the way, local ambulance officers, police officers, RACQ personnel. There were truckies and there were other road users, and we had plenty to talk about because there's plenty of problems on the Bruce Highway. And, you know, we also saw those problems firsthand because we drove the entire length of the Bruce. We saw the congestion, we saw the lack of overtaking lanes, we saw massive potholes, we saw dangerous intersections, flood-prone areas. We had a car that blew out a tyre from hitting a pothole that was the size of a crater, and at two spots, one I recall at Bilby and the other one at El Arish, we confronted cattle on the road, and they were Brahmins, if I'm not mistaken, standing smack bang in the middle of the national highway. Which brings me to the motion put forward by the member for Moreton. What a load of bull. And I have a message for him and all of the members opposite. Do not come into this place and pat yourselves on the back on a job well done, supposedly, without getting the facts right first, and without going and talking to the people who know that the investment, or lack thereof, in the Bruce Highway is certainly nothing that this government can be proud of. Now, let's put the facts on the table about funding. You know, the last time Labor was in office, they left a debt of $96 billion. And it took the Liberal National Coalition under the leadership of John Howard to wind that around, leaving $70 billion in the bank. And now the Rudd-Gillard government's got $240 billion debt and it's growing. So where did the money come from that's actually been spent most recently on the Bruce? And I can tell you where it came from. It came from the savings under the Liberal National Coalition government under John Howard. And I can prove that even further by the fact that with AusLink 2, which covered the periods from 2009 to 2014, right now, AusLink 2, announced by then Transport Minister Mark Vaile, then Leader of the National Party, he allocated $22.3 billion for future years to land transport system in Australia, road and rail. And a lot of that money has gone into the Bruce Highway under this government, but only by fate, because it was already predetermined under the previous government. And so we ask ourselves, what new has this government actually put into the Bruce Highway? And I know the member opposite, the member for Moreton, has cited 4 projects, and the member for Hinkler has rightly pointed out that out of those 4 projects he's talked about, 2 haven't even started yet, 1's not completed, and the other one's minor works, and that's been done. Well, 1 out of 4 ain't bad, mate, 1 out of 4 ain't bad. But I've got to tell you, he also quoted Collison's Lagoon upgrade. And mate, if you want to see the reason why Collison's Lagoon is going ahead and the work up there, well, you're looking at it. Because you guys, when you previously proposed this flood levy, you decided you were going to cut a whole heap of flood-proofing projects on the Bruce Highway. And one of them was Collison's Lagoon. Correct. One of them was up near Townsville, the member for Herbert will attest to it, and that was Van Tassel Street and the Flinders Highway intersection. And it took us raging and screaming from this side of the House and a commitment from the Leader of the Opposition to keep that funding in place to make this government backflip and put that funding back on the table. That is the sole reason that those projects have gone ahead in North Queensland on the Bruce Highway. So don't come in here with motions saying how good your government is, how good this Gillard Labor government is on the Bruce Highway, because that, my friend, is an absolute joke. You know, you want to see some more facts. Have a look at the headlines in the Daily Mercury, my local paper. Today we've got the Mackay Road Accident Action Group working on a campaign to lower the road toll. We've had the RACQ in recent days saying that the highway is still the most dangerous we have in Australia. We've had experts in international road movements
Order.
come in
The
and say
member's
it's a
time has
one-star highway.
expired. The member for Dawson will resume his seat, please.